Good morning, everyone. My name is Heidi McPherson, and I'm honored to serve as president of SUNY Brockport, and I am so thrilled to have so many people here today. It is wonderful to feel the reopening of our world and to do so in the space where our students live their lives, Eagle Hall. Thank you for coming today to learn more about how SUNY is supporting its campuses as we all work together to address the mental health needs of our student body. We know that students with mental health needs require additional support to be successful. We know that more and more students are receiving mental health support through high school and elsewhere so that they are able to attend college. When I was a student, such support was not as easily available, which meant that many students either couldn't start their college careers or had barriers to finishing them. We're working to make sure that all students have access to the support they need. Over the past 4 years, our counseling center averaged more than 3,660 visits per year. Visits to our health center for mental health medications jumped 10% last year compared to each of the 2 prior years. And tellingly, last year we saw an increase in visits even though fewer students were living on campus due to COVID. The advent of telehealth has provided opportunities for students who can't come to campus to meet with our highly trained professional counselors. We are so fortunate to have experienced counselors who specialize in treating students with issues such as substance abuse, complex trauma, and disordered eating behaviors, just to name a few. One of our students wrote in a recent client satisfaction survey about her experience with the counseling center. She said, "My counselors are giving me my life back that was taken from abuse, trauma, eating disorders, and somatic disorders. They improved my everyday life and have given me the skills that I will continue to use through the rest of my life." But we know we need to do more, and doing more requires additional resources. At SUNY Brockport, we strive to improve the accessibility of mental health resources for our diverse student population and their ever-changing mental health needs, and we are grateful that SUNY shares our commitment to this important work. I'm excited to hear more about what SUNY is doing in relation to student mental health needs, so please join me in welcoming the Chancellor of the State University of New York, Dr. Jim Malatras, to speak next.
Good morning. Thank you to President McPherson for all that she's doing at Brockport. I will say, as a SUNY alum myself, I'm a little jealous of being in this dormitory. I did not live in as nice of quarters when I was going to SUNY, so congratulations on your living conditions, which we did not have. When Congressman Morelli was at SUNY, it was even worse. Caves, I think, or something like that. I can't remember exactly. Well, we're excited at SUNY. We are reopening all of our campuses, fully reopening, nearly 100% back to in-person, which we're excited about. And it's been a long road for our students, our faculty, and our staff, so it feels like a new day. But we still have challenges that we have to address. And one of those challenges is the mental health and wellness area. Last fall, we launched the Reach Out SUNY campaign, where we provided expanded mental health services for every one of our students all across the system. Yet, we still have challenges that persist. During COVID, it was isolation, social isolation, physical isolation. Now we're facing a different type of issue. The anxiety of all coming back and sitting amongst one another. And students have said to us, wow, that's a different thing that we're used to. And there's issues there. And President McPherson mentioned some data points. And another one was the CDC survey recently showed that 41% of all college-age students reported at least one mental health condition. So there's a desperate need to provide more services. And our students have been demanding this. This has been student-driven from the beginning. They said, we want to thrive in college, but the only way we can thrive for our entire student body is if you expand these services. So we have champions within SUNY that have taken the reins and led the way. We'll hear first, shortly from President Deborah Stanley from SUNY Oswego, who co-chaired a task force on expanding and improving mental health services across our campuses, and we thank her for all that she's done. We also needed champions in our leadership positions, and we're joined today by one of our greatest student champions, Eunice Lewin, who's a Board of Trustee member, who shepherded through many of the proposals that were adopted recently by the Board of Trustees, saying we don't want to just speak words, we need to take action, and that's what today is all about. But to turn intentions into action, we needed champions outside of SUNY to help. And we have been joined by some of those champions today. And you're going to hear from them shortly. First is Congressman Joe Morelle, who I have worked with for many, many years in New York State government as well as in the federal government. He is a mentor of mine. He has done a lot for SUNY and for students throughout his entire career, especially on these issues. So let's just give him a round of applause for all that he has done. And then we're joined today by a representative of the Majority Leader of the U.S. Senate, Senator Schumer's office, Chris Zeltman. Senator Schumer has been there for us over these past months when we were in desperate need of funding and additional support. So let's give his office a big round of applause. And those champions did provide us with significant funding recently through the Federal American Rescue Plan. SUNY institutions got an additional $481 million for spending for things that we needed. And because of that investment in SUNY, we can expand mental services, mental health and wellness services today. So today, we are announcing that SUNY will invest $24 million in additional funding for mental health and wellness. This is the single largest investment in the system's history in mental health and wellness services. And Trustee Lewin is breathing a sigh of relief because if the federal government didn't come through, she was going to have to put up $24 million. And let's just think of some of the things that we're going to do. These are serious things that we'll be funding. We're going to be expanding counseling, peer-to-peer networks, training, and building safe spaces for our students. Those are all things that we need to have. With this record investment, SUNY campuses will be spending $59 million total in mental health and wellness services. So that is a big deal for us. That will make sure when we're reopening all of our campuses, our students can focus on the most important thing, learning to succeed in life. And the way they do that is if we eliminate barriers. Barriers to mental health and wellness services, barriers to food insecurity, barriers to housing insecurity, all those things we'll be continuing to work on, and we'll continue to work with our partners in the federal government and beyond to be champions for us. And I finally want to thank the governor and the state of New York who had to sign off on this plan. So everyone, the state, the federal government has all come together in a big way for us, so we appreciate that. So now I'd like to turn it over to this region's great congressman, one of the most dedicated representatives that any district could have, and we thank him for all that he has done for SUNY and beyond, Congressman Joe Morelle.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be with all of you. And let me first thank my longtime friend, Chancellor Jim Malatras. Dr. Malatras and I have known each other for many years. We began work together when I was in the State Assembly, and he was working with us, and then he's gone on to have many, many roles in the state government, but he's remained a wonderful friend, someone who's not only one of the smartest people I've ever met, but incredibly thoughtful about what he does, and somehow still managed to have a sense of humor, which was on display, talking about his dorm life. And I also want to thank our host, President McPherson, and, of course, President Stanley from Oswego, members of the Board of Trustees, my partner, Chris Zeltman, and Senator Schumer's office, for everyone who's here today, and we're a part of this really significant announcement. And I am a proud SUNY grad as well, having gone to SUNY Geneseo, and trust me, Chancellor, my dorm room looked like a box, and I'm jealous. I think the last time I was here with President McPherson, I commented on how jealous I was. So it's hard to have young people appreciate fully the surroundings, but it was different in the old days, let me just say that. So, but it's no secret, this is really an important announcement today, that America has been struggling with a growing mental health crisis. And since the beginning of the pandemic, as the Chancellor mentioned, those concerns have grown dramatically worse. And he mentioned that 41% of students relate to having mental health issues. According to the CDC, 4 in 10 adults reported symptoms of anxiety or depression during the pandemic. That's up from 1 in 10 that was reported in 2019. So the dramatic increase in concerns that have been expressed by people during the pandemic bring us to the importance of being here today. And the uncertainty, the isolation, the anxiety brought on by COVID-19 have had significant impacts on our collective mental health. And it's hard to overstate how important this is. I remember the transition I made as a young man going to Geneseo. I was the first in my family who ever gone to college. I was away for the first time from my extended family, and if you're part of a large Italian family, it's not only extended, they're in every element of your life. So when you go away to college for the first time, like, you don't hear your mother telling you the third dish of macaroni's not quite enough if you were really hungry. But all those things, all the anxiety of now the pressure to succeed, the pressure in a new living environment with new people around you, new friends, hopefully that you make, but it can be intense. And we know now that the anxiety and the isolation caused by the pandemic has increases. So I'm incredibly grateful to the Chancellor. So we were able to, and did during the American Rescue Plan, to provide resources to SUNY, but the transformative work being done here is being done because SUNY has made this a priority. So the money that we have put, the $24 million, is not only an historic investment, but it's one that that SUNY leadership has made a priority too. So I am so grateful to the Chancellor, grateful to the SUNY Board of Trustees, grateful to the presidents and the leadership of SUNY, and to the students who made sure that they were listened to, that this priority would be something that there would be investments in, and to make sure that they know that they are not alone, that if you're facing challenges of mental health and mental health crisis, there are people to turn to and there will be resources available to make sure that that works, and that we continue to remove the stigma around mental health and improve support services. So I'm very, very grateful. I'm delighted to be included here and want to continue to wish every success to my friends at SUNY, and again, thank Chancellor Malatras for his leadership. God bless.
All kidding aside, Congressman Morelli not just talks the talk, he walks the walk. He's been delivering for the state of New York for a long time, and it's something to look up to. And having students here know what you are doing every day always helps. It's a good inspiration. Now we'd like to introduce Chris Zeltman, who is the Regional Director for U.S. Senator Charles Schumer's office. And again, Senator Schumer was instrumental in delivering this funding for us. We appreciate it, and we want him to know this is going to go a long way, and we're going to invest wisely in our students. So, Chris, all you.
Hi. Pleased to be here on behalf of Senator Schumer, and I just want to thank the Chancellor and Congressman Morelli, President McPherson, and all of our SUNY representatives here with us today. You know, throughout the pandemic, many Americans have faced really two health crises, both physical health concerns of COVID-19, and then, you know, the mental health stresses and other mental health issues that accompany it. And college students really in particular have been at the nexus of really having to endure both those challenges, making it vital that they really receive the support they need. So Senator Schumer worked very hard, recognized this need. I think throughout the pandemic, federal recovery bills since last year, we've focused more than $1 billion here for higher ed into New York. This includes the $400 million provided through the American Rescue Plan to equip SUNY colleges and universities with the resources they need to really better guide our students through the pandemic, bolster mental health services, and provide the support to bridge students for success coming forward. So again, we really applaud SUNY for using this funds to prioritize mental health for students. These efforts will undoubtedly make an immeasurable impact on the lives of so many students that are educated and positioned for success here at our SUNY campuses. Thank you.
Thank you, Chris. Next, I'd like to call on Deborah Stanley, who is the co-chair of the SUNY Mental Health and Wellness Task Force. Good ideas have to be put into operational and implementable form, and President Stanley, with her co-chair, Dr. Riley from SUNY Downstate, were instrumental in that, and they presented the blueprint of which we are following today. So with that, I'd like to call up Deborah Stanley.
Thank you, Chancellor. And I want to say a special thank you to Trustee Eunice Lewin, who put together the task force and really called for it more than 2 years ago. And that was prior to the pandemic, because as you heard today, you've heard about all of the statistics that we were all hearing about and understood were really affecting our students and their ability to live as well as learn. What we know about student learning is that deep learning happens when there are fewer barriers to understanding, to affiliating, to feeling close to people, to be able to test your knowledge and feel that freedom to exist in a safe, secure, and comfortable environment. When you are plagued by mental health issues and wellness issues, that's not possible for you. So as we heard about those statistics, the Board of Trustees, through what Eunice Lewin was able to put together and call upon this task force to do, was to bring together the professionals throughout SUNY, that is the mental health and wellness professionals, to not only look at the statistics, but then to say, how is this on the ground at our institutions? How do we deal with what we need to do for our students, and how can we make it better? How can we arrive at this priority? And then we'll worry about funding. And of course, she really did say that. She really, really did say that. And then we'll worry about funding. So Senator Schumer, of course, came through, and Congressman Morale came through, and and of course, our Chancellor came through in helping us understand how we can go about making this priority a reality. You know, sometimes, and very rarely in life, do you get an assignment that you feel is really worthwhile. I have felt throughout my entire career that being part of higher education is an amazing assignment. Watching the transformation of students, having them blossom and understand the world is really an important activity that is future-based. It really looks forward. But we want to remove all the barriers to that. So this assignment in leading the Mental Health and Wellness Task Force was just an amazing gift to me. I valued every piece of it, and certainly valued getting to know the professionals in SUNY who gave us our best advice, allowed us to put together a compelling report. And now, with the priorities that we've assessed and we've put forward, we are getting the chance to make those priorities live and be a reality for our students. So I'm so pleased that this is happening today. I think we're setting a mark for the country, not just the state. We are investing more than almost anywhere else in the country and in this endeavor. Thank you, Chancellor.
The second announcement we have for today is we are rescinding President Stanley's retirement, which I have the authority to as Chancellor. So she is no longer going to retire. She's clearly too good at what she does. So congratulations, Deborah. We appreciate another 25 years. No, seriously, we're going to rescind her retirement. That's going to happen. Next, I'd like to call up Trustee Eunice Lewin. And President Stanley mentioned it. She is a force of nature, and she would not let this issue go. I had students saying, you have to do something. And Trustee Lewin would call me and say, you have to do something. I know you're tired. You have to keep pushing that rock. And because of her insistence and her perseverance, we are standing here today because we were able to get this federal resources and we wanted to invest it wisely. So with that, I call up our great trustee, Trustee Eunice Lewin.
Thank you, Chancellor, for your kind words. Good morning. It is a beautiful and good day at SUNY Brockport. And I'm also a SUNY alum. I am truly, truly thrilled, excited, and grateful to be here with you and everyone here for this very, very important announcement, especially Congressman Morelle. Thank you, thank you, thank you. President McPherson, thank you for hosting us today. And thank you to our students, some who are with us today, who strive to break the stigma associated with asking for help. To our students, you are not alone. I'm here representing the State University of New York Board of Trustees under the leadership of SUNY Board Chairman, Dr. Merrill Tisch. We are here to fortify and bolster our mental health resources for our students to whom we serve. While SUNY campuses have had counseling centers to offer support, like here at SUNY Brockport, not every student will go to a center, and those who do have reported long waits for an appointment or live off campus with limited transportation. We look across the SUNY system to share resources, which led to the establishment of Upstate Medical University in 2018 as our first telecounseling hub for 10 SUNY campuses. Through online video conference tools, doctors provide counseling sessions to students 24/7. This was enabled by a $300,000 appropriation from the New York State Legislature, and we thank you. Last year, this program grew to include a second telecounseling hub emanating from SUNY Downstate Health Sciences Universities, which will assist another 5 campuses as it reduces waiting time and expands services to include 5 more campuses. While telecounseling was significant to reduce wait times for our students, programs like peer-to-peer assistance, crisis hotlines, and apps were launched by our very able, action-oriented Chancellor Malatras last year, and again this spring to help those who want to speak with a fellow student or are simply comfortable with phone or online services. Our task force on student health and wellness made its final recommendation last month to the board to grow these programs further, and that is what Chancellor Malatras has done in short order today with significant federal funding and the support of Senator Schumer and Congressman Morelli. Let's give them a hand. The pandemic has increased level of anxiety and depression among students across the nation, and we have heard it from our students time and time again. We are thankful for this opportunity to do more, and we promise you that we will do more. Thank you for making the health and wellness being of our students a priority, and I can tell you it is a board priority. One that we have taken very, very, very seriously, and Chairman Tisch has been an incredible supporter on ensuring that our students get the help that they need. On that note, I have the pleasure of introducing one of our newest presidents with student government at SUNY Brockport, Mr. Justin Crawford. Justin is the 2021 Brockport Student Government President, and he's entering his senior year. You will be leaving us shortly. Enjoy your last year. Majoring in African and African American Study and Sociology. Justin, welcome to the party.
My watch is telling me to breathe, so I'm going to do that first. Good morning. My name is Justin Crawford, and I am the president of Brockport Student Government. This summer, I also work as an orientation leader. And in both roles, I have the opportunity to speak with current and future students. What I've heard is that students are struggling with mental health. I've been there. I've been a student that has taken advantage of Brockport's mental health services. And something that's important between me and what I've heard from students is that more can be done. Another thing is that it's okay to seek for help. That is echoed through Brockport student government and also through orientation. But as much help as I received, I still want to echo is that more can be done, and that's the big theme. We need our counseling centers to be more flexible to meet the needs of our students and to offer more opportunities for students to receive help. This is why I'm so grateful for the work of Chancellor Maltras and Congressman Morelli and everyone who is working hard to make sure that the resources are reality for SUNY students wide. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
We will open up for some questions. There are some on topic. So the $24 million will be system-wide and used for things like expanding telehealth services, counseling services. The one thing I've heard time and time again from students is they like peer-to-peer services. University of Albany runs something called Middle Earth, which is a really fabulous peer-to-peer network. We're going to be expanding those services. And the one issue, we didn't touch on it today, but especially among our LGBTQIA community, the development of safe spaces on campus, little safe spaces where they can go, talk to one another, talk to faculty members, because the mental health challenges in that community, especially post-pandemic, has been extraordinary. So those are the types of things we'll be expanding.
Chancellor, the money that you're using to fund this expansion is a one-time shot in the arm from the federal government. How do you sustain them past that?
Well, I'm going to ask for the money again. And then again and again and again. I think what we have to do is, I think we're in an unprecedented time. We're coming out of an experience of a pandemic that none of us really truly imagined. I think our students are happy to be back on our campuses, but there's enormous challenges. So we're going to use the money we have now, hopefully able to build out the programs further with some permanent funding. But even some of these things are one-shots. Building a safe space, for instance, that's a one-shot capital cost. But we're going to continue to advocate for additional resources to break down all the barriers that President Stanley mentioned, whether it's mental health services, food insecurity, other economic insecurities, as we move forward into the budget process, state and federally.
I'm wondering if you have any statistics. You mentioned the CDC information about 41% of college students indicating that they had at least one mental health issue. Do you have any statistics on a statewide level? Is this something you surveyed SUNY students about?
We have done a number of surveys on mental health and wellness, and the numbers are staggering. You mentioned pre-pandemic, it was 1 in 10, and sometimes CDC kind of mirrored where we were. It jumped up immediately. 5 in 10 students were experiencing mental health issues. Some campuses, 8 in 10 students. So we have seen a large increase because of the pandemic, which was only growing. It hasn't receded yet, because I think a lot of the anxieties of coming back to a more normalized environment has created its own set of challenges. So we're seeing increased levels of need for these services all across the system.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.